local recordings.
Dun, 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 dun. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Live. Is it live or is it Memorex?
Oh my.
I have to be. I'm Robert. I'm Robert again today, so I have to do Robert isms.
You look just like him.
Yeah. You know what? I was gonna get a wig, a bald wig, and then I was like, nah. No. Everybody then might really think
much better.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. On sale now at generallyirritable.com. It isn't actually a metal patch.
I love it.
Yes. Great. Yes. Okay. So, Lori, we are going to have Grammy award-winning Kaya Jones with us this evening.
No, how exciting.
I'm really excited.
Me too.
I think this is going to be a fun conversation. I'm really pumped. Okay, so hold on. She's texting me right now. 7:10 is perfect. You guys, she's going to be with us at 7:10.
So you got to start talking. Speed
All right.
La. We got things to talk about.
So she's going to be coming on the show tonight. We're going to be talking about her radical transformation. Her now, well, I guess maybe not radical transformation, because it sounds like she grew up, in a Christian home, and so it's more like a return to her faith. So yeah. I'm excited to hear about that, and her evangelism and what she's got going on. And gosh, you guys, I got a little tickle in my throat.
Oh no, this is gonna be a long show if you have a tickle in your throat already.
Yeah, well, I got all excited when we were talking about the United Healthcare assassin before we went on air.
Yeah, we need to talk about that.
Yes, so
crazy story.
Allegedly, they have found the killer, Luigi Mangione. They're claiming
in McDonald's
eating a hash brown. Yeah. Apparently, I don't know. That's what I heard.
If that's going to be your last meal, I mean, it's not so bad.
Here's the thing. So he's claiming that the bag of evidence, a bunch of money and a gun and other stuff, was planted on him by the police. What do you think?
Okay, I don't buy it.
I don't know. Here's why I'm thinking I'm not sure. Now, I don't know if Lord Redic can bring up the side-by-sides. Probably not. This is a last-minute plan, you guys. I didn't plan this, but they showed a picture. We've got the picture from the coffee shop where he's flirting with a girl, allegedly.
Right.
No unibrow, okay? But if you bring up that guy's mugshot, hold on, let me look it up. Mugshot. Luigi, man.
Well, I got to tell you, while you're doing that, I saw pictures of him right when they thought they found him, and they were like 4 in a row on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, Batman. He was hot.
Wow.
He had like this abdominal muscles. He had like a total 6-pack. Actually, he probably had 8, but who was counting? And I was like, oh my God, I'm attracted to a murderer. I cannot even believe this.
Okay, Dr. Fineman, this is how it starts, okay? So the diary of the woman who falls in love and like marries a guy in prison. Now you understand it.
Yeah. I don't, but because as soon as I realized that this might be a murder, I'm like, yeah,
Maybe
peace
not.
out. You can keep your abs.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not into this. But oh my gosh, I was like wow.
Here it is. Yeah, here he is, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. That looks like a unibrow to me.
Just threw away his Ivy League, pedigree. That, well, I don't know. I mean, that's not a unibrow. There's not a lot of room there. But
that looks pretty unibrowy. Let's look closer.
He needs a waxing.
I don't know. I'm just saying he looked a lot more clean in that picture we saw.
In the pictures that I saw, he looked a lot more clean. I mean, I'm telling you, he was like, he had a 6-pack going on. So
this is what I'm saying.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not.
Allegedly.
I don't know. I mean, It's allegedly. And I was talking to friends of mine, and we all had our hypotheses about what his motive
Ooh.
was,
Well,
right?
and you heard,
So I know
oh,
everyone's
sorry, and you were saying you heard, right? He's from a hot, like his family was in medical hospital, whatever. He's like summa cum, whatever the
yeah,
heck.
like from Penn, I think, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
like
you're going
some
to
big
throw away an
deal.
Ivy League education to murder somebody on a let's save the world from, the bureaucracy and the rich people and I mean, this is ridiculous. I think clinically speaking, I don't know if something snapped for him or not. I mean, that's as clinical as I'm
Yeah.
gonna get, but it is a bizarre story, and I want to see as more
Yeah.
unfolds what we're
Well,
dealing
and
with here.
I was incredulous that it was the right person, and I was like, yeah, sure, I would believe that the cops planted some evidence. But then when I heard his background, I was like, ooh, this sounds like one of those millennials gone wild
Yeah,
kind of thing where, they're like they grow up really well to do, they have everything that they need, and
and
they
then they
throw it all
turn.
away.
Yeah.
They're out there rioting with
Well,
BLM and like,
and that's what I was going to say. I mean, look at what's happening on all the university campuses at the elite institutions. These are some
yes.
of the wealthiest institutions that there are, and so it just goes to show you, like, I mean, it's you try to do for your children, and it's going to backfire on you. So you might as well treat them like shit to begin with. I'm just kidding.
Well,
You might as well, right?
speaking of treating people like crap to begin with, Benjamin, make sure you mark that timestamp because, oh, no, wait, we don't have to bleep for the radio show anymore.
Oh my God.
Oh, does
Now
that
I'm
mean we can
home.
cuss now? No, no, you
No?
can still get deboosted for cussing. But
Oh,
speaking of being
okay.
treated like crap, Daniel Penny acquitted.
Oh, I thank goodness. Thank you. Thank you. Something is going right in this world. Finally. Are you kidding me that he had to endure what he's had to
Unbelievable.
endure for being a good Samaritan? Are you kidding me?
Did you hear the speeches being given by BLM people outside of his outside of the courthouse? They're like, "Oh,
No.
this is just like Jim Crow and the white man's allowed to kill the black man." And I was like, "Bro,
Yeah. Okay.
y'all are doing too
Yeah.
much." It's very clear that this man you know what I didn't know, something that I learned out of this case, Lori, was that
Okay.
apparently the first responders, whoever showed up to the scene, the young man Jordan was not deceased when they arrived, but they did not want to give him CPR because they did not want to get a disease.
You are kidding me. I did not
No,
hear that.
no. And technically, just so
So
people
wait, why
know,
weren't they on trial? Just out of curiosity.
that's a great question. That is a
Thank
great
you. I like
question.
to ask good questions. Yes.
But probably because they were not white. I don't know. If they were
I don't
white,
know.
they probably would have gotten in trouble too. I'm just guessing. Maybe
I,
they'll
I, I
try
the
them
whole
next.
the whole thing is just mind blowing to me. I don't care what color anybody is. I don't care how much money you have or don't have. If somebody is on a subway and they are seeing a criminal act being performed, right? And they want to step in because other people's lives are in danger,
Yeah.
that should excuse them if he wasn't being completely aggressive, right? And like, just ripping the guy's face out, and he was just putting him in a chokehold in order to make sure that everybody else was safe. And by the way, he
Yes.
didn't kill him, apparently,
Yeah.
right? According to
Exactly.
this, he didn't kill him.
Exactly.
It was the police that didn't kill him.
So it's just you have to. It makes you wonder. In this day and age, are we now going to stop seeing these kinds of political witch hunts for things that are obviously self-defense? Do you think?
I
Do you
sure
think?
hope so.
Because I have to tell you, Lori, when they came back and they said that there was like a hung jury or whatever on the first charge, I was
Yeah.
like, dude, there is no way if this man gets charged or gets put away, I'm going to riot. I'm going to riot.
I'll join your riot. There you go. There's two of us that are going to riot. But it's like, I sat there and I was like, okay, so you have this jury of people that are
Mhm.
just like, normal citizens. I don't know what normal means in this day and age. And you mean to tell me that half of them, or more than one or two, it was not unanimous. There was at least one person on that jury who actually believed he should have been killed, like he should have been found guilty. On what lifetime? Okay, you be the person who he was trying to save. Okay, you sit there and wish that he had jumped in to save your life, and then he puts someone in a chokehold and he gets close to death. And now I want to see you say that was manslaughter.
There was a political commentator, far left, Emma Vigland, who went on air talking about how she's been on the subway and she was getting hit by somebody. And so, because she was willing to sit there and get hit by some crazy homeless person, everyone should be, because her safety doesn't matter when that person being a crazy person is more important.
Wow.
I was
okay, well, good luck to her then.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck.
I hope she'll wear like a little sign, so when I'm on the subway with her, I'll know just to bypass her and save somebody else's life. Like,
please victimize me. Please victimize me. That's what it says. Okay, so we have Miss Kaya Jones joining us. She is backstage. We're going to bring her right in. No delay. Hello.
Hi, how are you guys?
We are doing fantastic. Yes, how are you?
I'm doing so. My father's been in the ICU. I know I've been kind of vocal online about it when it first started, but it's been a very long journey of not so good health. So I came in from the hospital. So bear with me as my mind is, I mean, I'm trying to stay positive and I just trust Hashem. And for those of you listening who don't know who Hashem is, it is God. And I trust God with all my heart.
That is, you know what? I have been the last 3 days, Kaya, I swear, every scripture about worry has come up. Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd, all of that has just been, every sermon I've happened to listen to has been about resting in the peace of God. And I'm just praying that for you and your family right now.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, that it's never good. It's never going to feel good, but God promises a peace that surpasses all understanding, and I am just praying that for you.
Thank you. Bless you.
You are so welcome.
Thank you.
Well, speaking of blessings, what a blessing you are, Kaya. So it's to me, this is how I see you. Pussycat doll to evangelist.
Something like that, yeah.
I know there's a bunch in between there.
There is.
And how did we go from one to the next is what I am like.
You really want to know.
Yeah.
So I've always been, I believe my soul has always been so connected to God and so Jewish at the root of it, because at 12, which is when, a girl or a boy get a bar or a bat mitzvah, I wanted to find God. I wanted to go into a synagogue and start studying. And I have family who's Jewish and family who's Christian. So I had that option and I was searching for him.
That's cool.
And I was searching for him. And of course, I was really bummed when family was like, no, you study Torah in the synagogue and you study, Jesus in the church. And I was like, but he's still Jewish. Why am I going over there? I was so confused. Mm-hmm. And I remember that night I went to bed and I was crying and I prayed to Adonai. I said, I know that, and I had no idea at the time. I was quoting the Shema. I was quoting Deuteronomy 6:4-9. I said, I know that everything is in you and nothing is apart from you. The good, the bad, the indifferent, because you say this, Lord, you say that all is for your glory, even when we make mistakes, even when we do bad things or make poor choices, it's always going to be for the better. He will turn beauty from ashes, right? And so it truly has been something from I was 12. And so I said to him, I know it's all you, and I want a front row seat, God, when everyone knows that you're one and Yeshua is one in you, and it's all you. And I want to learn the Torah. So in my heart, I was always this girl who loved Jesus, who loved the Torah, who never got to study it. So when I finally then left the Pussycat Dolls, still was getting fed songs that were pop and still very slutty and not what I wanted to do. Let's be fair. Okay. Let's be fair. I was like, give me a song that isn't so slutty. It was just all slutty songs.
I love your authenticity.
Yes.
I love it.
Truth.
And why can't we just say it? Like,
well, she did. Look at how great she
that is it.
Slutty. It was just, and there's, when you're young and you're like, oh my gosh, it's fun. But there was a point where I was like, am I ever going to get some really good songs or meat on the bones where like I can actually sing and just, I really wanted to just take it seriously. And I just felt I was fed a lot of material that was not what I wanted. And when I would write material, they were like, no, it's not good enough. And I just kind of felt like I was constantly not able to get there. And I remember I had now was doing DJing and opening up for Calvin Harris and known as like the EDM princess in Europe and Asia and Africa, and had hit records in dance music over there. Yeah. And I remember I just asked the Lord, I said, I really want to sing for you. I don't know if I can do this secular world thing anymore. And if you really want me to sing, then you're going to have to bring them to me, because I don't know them and I don't even know where to find them. Yeah. And within 2 weeks, he brought forward a song, What the Heart Don't Know. And that went to number 3 behind Taylor Swift and Pink as an independent with no management, no agent, nobody. I was doing it all by myself. It was so amazing. And right after that, Jay DeMarcus from the Rascal Flatts calls and says, I have an album I'm doing with Jason Crabb. And I knew who Jason Crabb was. He's from the Crabb family. They're very famous Christians that also minister. And he said, we want to add you to this album. And then I had all of these people circling me, managers that were like, oh, don't do it. If it's free, don't you dare. Don't do it. Don't do it. And I said, because at the time, it was like a very independent Christian record. And there wasn't a budget for me. And I just felt so honored to be asked to sing for Hashem that I was like, I want to do this. Like, I don't care if I get nothing. And it was the greatest do a free job ever in my life, because that's what won the Grammy. Literally.
That's amazing.
The best ever.
That's amazing.
And so what I will tell anyone listening is, when you don't think it means something, but it means something to you, or your people are saying it's not going to work, and that voice, which is God in you, tells you, go for it, because you might end up being rewarded in ways. And it literally then opened up a door. And now we're going into 2025. This is the first time I'll be able to release a full gospel album. We worked 3 years on it. And this past 4 years, I was studying the way I wanted to study. I went in, studied with a rabbi, studied in a yeshiva, was able to study the Torah and journey and track with Yeshua. Really, Yeshua was my rabbi, because I already loved him. And I already felt like, okay, I want to walk in the obedience of the Father's commands. And so it just, now I feel like I finally, the 12-year-old girl finally got her dream.
Yeah. Well, amazing. And that's, I was going to ask you, one of the stories I've heard you tell that I love is how when you were a little girl, you heard Whitney Houston singing the national anthem. And just for the record, I did I Want to Dance with Somebody at karaoke last week, and I crushed it. I want to see that. I want to see that on video. Ben Lord Redic has video of it.
I want to say that one right there.
Oh my God.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
Love Whitney Houston. So it's almost like that was like the fulfillment. It was like you giving a present back to God.
Yeah, well, because it was so the thing is it's a funny story you mentioned, because I watched Whitney that night, and she was in a tracksuit with a headband.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a gown and she was this diva. She opened her mouth and she sang, and it was literally like angels came out of her body. It was like, wow. And the authority she had, and sweating, and just to see a woman in such a powerful way standing and the whole world, she had them like almost on
captured.
bated breath, like,
Yeah.
hope she hits it, go girl, go. Like, it was so beautiful. You know what I mean? I remember being like, I want to do that. And so
Yeah.
every night I went to the foot of my bed and I prayed to Adonai, will you give me a voice? And that happened for 7 years until he really did. No one in my family sings. Everyone on my mother's side is true island Caribbean Jew. You're a lawyer, a doctor, a judge. You get a real job, girlfriend. So when I said I wanted to be, a cantor, a singer, they were like, what? No. So it just was nice that he gave me my dream. I begged him.
Yeah.
So yeah, that in a way it really was me requesting and then being able to honor him with my voice that he gave me.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
That is so cool. And one
So-
of the other, oh, go ahead, Lori.
Well, no, it's okay. I was just going to say, Kaya,
I'm going to hog the whole show.
You can totally hog the whole show, but I'm going to just step right on your toes anyway. So, Kaya, we didn't get to meet at IAD, but I was so appreciative of everything that you did for Israel Appreciation Day. And it was just so magnificent. And your love for Israel. Before we even go down to the Israel route, which I think is so significant, is what you were saying. I'm a psychologist. And so one of the things that I work with my patients all the time is your authentic self and your little child, right? Your inner child.
Yeah.
And what you were saying is exactly what just resonated and what you saw in Whitney Houston. It's like when you're being authentic and you're doing what it is that you love doing and speaks to you, it doesn't matter if you're making money. It doesn't matter if people are trying to cancel you or telling you not to do something out of their own jealousy or what have you. It's when you're true to yourself, that's when the miracles happen, right? And that's when it feels like you can literally take on the world. But when you ignore that voice, nothing seems to kind of work itself out. So I just wanted to make a note of that. And now we can go on to Israel because like I'm obsessed with Israel. So
Me too.
Yeah. So tell me, I mean, obviously I understand the whole religious and spiritual path, but like you've been such a voice through this whole since October 7th and even previously. Tell me how, what, when, and why you decided to kind of go in that direction.
Well, in the journey of now getting this thing for the Lord. So I always, of course, from the religious side, have a heart for Israel. How can you not? God says Israel almost 3,000 times in the Bible. He will bless those who bless Israel. He will curse those who curse Israel. And I love the God of Israel, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. This is where the Torah came from. This is where all religion has been birthed from. And if you love Yeshua, if you're a Christian in this time, you need to fixate your eyes on Israel because it's very clear if you read the Brit Hadashah, the New Testament, what is to take course. And it is very appalling when I'm watching what's going on. So when the war happened, I think my initial reaction, because I was studying Torah, was, oh my gosh, it's beginning, the birthing pains of the return of the nations, and we need to pay attention. So my mind didn't go to like war. It went to, we have to help. We have to help right now. It was like urgent. And I don't believe that's self. I believe that's Hashem in me. And we know God is not only outside of us, he's in here too. And we forget that as believers because we are pieces of him. We're not him, but we are pieces of him. And, for me, it was like, I gotta go. And I was offered with a ministry, will you come? And they were bringing trauma relief toys to the children, over 20,000 that pray in Hebrew, in Arabic, and in English, just to calm them. So we would bring things to the different medical facilities. We also assembled about 2,000 kits in country. So we went to all the stores, helping the economy by buying products and then assembling the kits and then taking them to all of the different places where all of the people, so many people don't understand, like all of the people that were attacked on October 7th, the kibbutzes, the communities, they now don't have homes. They have
Yeah.
nowhere to go. Women don't have the pads, the tampons, basic needs. And we
Right.
forget that discussion. So a lot of that was putting together these care packages with, I was like, can we put in lip gloss? Can we put in socks and
Oh,
hair
I love
ties?
that.
The things that I
Yeah.
would want as a
Yeah.
girl.
As a woman.
Yeah, exactly. And knowing that these were for the women and the young girls. And we did that. And then when we weren't doing that, we were bringing helmets or what do you call it?
The
Bullet
vest.
vests for the
Kevlar body
soldiers.
armor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we did that. That was the initial trip. And I was supposed to be in country for about 10 days. And it was going really well. And they said, can you stay, into January? And I said, yes.
Wow.
And I told my mom, I said, I found my people, I found my country, I'm not coming back. And she was literally like, what?
Yeah.
I said, I don't think you understand. Mom, like I'm walking into, my hotel at 2 a.m. when we finally landed and we're now, checking in. And there's this she had to have been 18, 19. And she has her Bible and she's in the corner and she's, davening, she's praying. And no one bothered her. No one made fun of her. No one made her feel like she wasn't seen. She was in prayer, and that's normal there. And I
Yep.
just felt like these are my people, because that's me. And I've always felt, when I talk about prayer, people kind of look at me funny, but the Jewish people never have. And I didn't talk to them about Jesus or anything. All I did was sit with them and tell them that I love them and I'm there with them. And because a lot of people were like, did you talk about Jesus? I was like, no, why would I do that in this time? Why would I go into any of those conversations? How we show God is just be present, be a friend, be there for one another. So the second time I was asked to go, which was with Shiva Medical,
Wow.
that was the second time. And that's when I said, absolutely. And I got to go back. And it was only for 4 days. And then as I was meeting the hostage forum, all of the people that work there, all of the different volunteers and the families of those that had been taken, that was when I really realized media relations was needed in Israel. And I was just starting a media company, Shiloah TV.
Yeah. So you're going to ask about that.
So then I said, you know what? How can I help Israel? How can we get the messaging out? And it was clear that messaging was needed. And there was a lack of help. So I definitely felt like I needed to help and stay as long as possible. And I did. And I'm happy that I did because it worked out for me to stay for an additional 3 months. And then I was able to come and what, I went and fed soldiers. That was one of my favorite things, was preparing the food for 600 plus soldiers. And I did that about 3 or 4 times. And the main thing was making sure, it was kosher, it was cleaned well, all of it. And so a lot of people don't understand, it's not just wrapped food that we send the soldiers there, because they do have believers that are serving. We want to make sure, and also the non-believers, we want to make sure they're healthy. So it was just such an honor to prepare food and to, stand with Israel in this time where the world, I'm just appalled at what I'm seeing in the world. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
The crimes against humanity, the crimes against families, the crimes against women, and where are the freedom fighting ladies of America who are supposed to be using our voice? You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Where's Me Too?
Where is Me Too? Where is any of these people that, normally, and be fair, and I hate to say this, but if it was any other people other than Jews, you would care.
Yeah.
And that
you're not saying it, right? You're not saying anything that is not 100,000% true.
Well, remember, it's obvious.
You guys have to remember, okay? Jewish people are too successful. They're white now. So you therefore have white privilege and are the oppressor. And I mean, that's
what it comes down to.
It is. That is the mindset.
This is the 30 years of setting the stage to create this perfect storm, right, of anti-Semitism. And look, anti-Semitism is the one thing that people historically from for 3,000 years can get
Oh, yeah.
behind. Jew hatred is a lifelong phenomenon that anybody, it becomes socially appropriate. But you sit here and you're like, in what universe are we accepting this? And by the way, have we not had a model of this called the Holocaust where we
Yes.
learned? Have we not learned anything from the Holocaust? Like, I'm sorry, I could go on and I could rant and go crazy about this because Kaya, if you only knew, I can go off for hours on it.
Me too.
I have a deep love for Israel. I've been there since the war, and everybody, you cannot go to Israel and walk out of there and come back, not a changed person, and B, anti-Semitic or anti-Israel. It is impossible. When you walk into that country, everybody is stepping home. And I was on this podcast as a guest once talking about my trip to Israel, but one of the there were so many unbelievable experiences there, and I've been there multiple times, but after the war, it was just bar none the most incredible thing.
Horrific.
But I remember I had my kids with me, and we were in the city of, we were in Jerusalem in the old city, and we walked out of the church. And as we were walking out of the church in the old city, the Muslim call to prayer was going on at the exact same time. And I said to my kids, do you understand the significance of standing here in Jerusalem, in Israel, while we just walked out of one of the most religiously tied churches to Christianity, and you have the Muslim call to prayer like ringing throughout the city? I mean, can we wrap our heads around it? What is there to hate? Every single group of people belongs right there. It's the holiest city for everyone. Why can we just not accept that this is it blows my mind. This is a microcosm. If we do not save Israel, we are gone. And people do not understand this. They just don't. So thank you for using your voice to get this messaging out, because I am appalled. I'm sick. I sit there and I post on these social media sites and I'm like, wake up, open your eyes. I mean, even today, there were 5 anti-Semitic acts that I posted on my social media, on my story. I don't know anything about social media, but that's what I do. I just put it on my story over and over again. And my friends are like, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy. And I'm like, let me be crazy. And please let me be wrong. But you got to open your eyes and see what's happening.
But you're not wrong. You're not wrong, and you're not crazy. And I think it's an honor right now if we're called to stand with Adonai and his people, which is not just inside of the land, it's also outside of the land, because it's two things. We're a people and we're a place. Yep. And we have to save Israel at all costs, because it's the history alone and the importance of what God has given us is there. Just on that accord. Now, when we talk about the people, Syrian Jews, Iraqi Jews, Iranian Jews, Lebanese Christians and Jews, these are all Sephardic, dark-skinned Jews, okay? When I sit with Iraqi Jews, where are they going to go when you talk from the river to the sea? They can't go back to Iraq. They cannot. They will be killed.
They will be killed.
So this idea that it's whitewashed because they think Jews are only the European Jews. No, it's not. It's Jews everywhere, just like there are Christians everywhere, just like there are Muslims everywhere. And the thought that we have such a narrow mind than understanding that the Jews of the Middle East have nowhere to go. This is their home. And to think that when you're saying river to the sea and that Israel is apartheid, are you kidding? What?
Have you been to Tel Aviv? Have you been to Tel Aviv?
They've never been. They've never been.
No, and they also don't know what the definition of those words are. Let's be real. Let's be real. They don't know what an apartheid is. They haven't even been long enough to know who Nelson Mandela was. Like, they have no freaking idea.
No, they know the buzzwords, and then they change the definition, and then they literally lie to you. Lie lie to you about the UN or whatever other organization, literally lie. And everybody, and we're wrong. We're wrong because we don't realize that they're lying. Doesn't matter. They don't care. And they're doing it.
Speaking of lying, we got to take a quick break and hear from our sponsor. That was a terrible transition.
Terrible.
One has nothing to do with the other, but I needed to just like get in there, and we were just
Ericka,
going, and I was
great.
like, if I don't just interrupt.
Awesome.
So Kaya, do you have a few more minutes to hang with us?
I do. Absolutely.
All right.
Awesome.
All right. So we're going to hear really quick from our sponsor, ASIC. Y'all are watching here with Kaya Jones. Artist, art musician, evangelist. I'm going to just call you an evangelist. I don't know what you want to be called for a title, but that's what I'm going to call you.
Amazing goddess.
I just think we're all queens. We're all queens. We're all Esthers right now. And that's what we need. We need more and more. We need Mordecai's now to start.
All right.
Let's go.
Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, you'll hear more from us Esthers in just a few minutes.
Socialism. The goal of socialism is communism. The world is quite familiar with socialism and the horrors socialism has brought with it. It wasn't that long ago. Actually, it's still with us. Socialism creeps into government slowly until it's too late. Socialism, the big lie. Yes, it could happen anywhere. This educational video was brought to you by the American Center for Education and Knowledge and paid for by people like you who care about the future of our democracy. Please help us continue our work educating the American public and consider supporting ASIC by making a tax-deductible donation at asicfund.org.
And you can support this podcast by leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, and most importantly, leaving a comment, chatting with us. If you guys put something in the comments section, we might even talk to you. So
we like talking to people. We like talking. Come on.
Well, and speaking of talking to people, this is a legitimate transition. I've got Shiloah TV, right? I said
Shiloh.
it right? Shiloh.
Shiloh, yeah.
Sheila? Say it.
Shiloh or well, Shiloh is the Hebraic way of saying it. Which is actually found in the book of Isaiah. It's only said one time with that spelling, which refers to the water, and people would, they were turning away from the living water at the time. And so Shiloh, the English way of saying it, the Americanized way of saying it, it's really, the focus of it was to create a TV streaming that was focused in faith. And really Judeo-Christian values and what that means and how important it is. And so I really want to do more with Israel. I really want to show more of Israel and show but some of the things we have some of the stuff for Jerusalem and Yeshua. We're also showing revival that is happening in the Philippines. We have 2 series that are coming out that will be uploaded very soon. We're going to have about 40 or 50 different pieces coming on, and it's just going to continue as we grow. I wasn't ready to roll this out. It was something that I was like trying to figure out what to do and really leaning on the Lord. But when I got to Israel, I felt a rush to help get the education out about Israel. First thing is the importance of the archaeology. And also this narrative that Jesus was Palestinian is really actually incorrect doctrine.
What is that?
I'm sorry.
You haven't heard that yet?
What is that?
Who said that?
There are pastors that are teaching this, my love. Ericka, I will go as far as to say as recently as there's a nativity. I posted it in my stories yesterday. There was a nativity.
Oh, I saw that.
At the Vatican.
Yes, I saw the baby in his wheelchair.
Baby Jesus is wrapped in a freedom fighting Palestinian kippah.
We can't.
Yep, I saw it.
Is this on Facebook, Instagram? Which one is it?
It's on the
everywhere.
News. It was all over the news. It was
no. Where did you post it, Kaya?
I'll repost it for you. I'll send it to you, girl.
Okay.
What the point is, But there's actually pastors and preachers that are teaching that Jesus was a Palestinian refugee who had to flee to Egypt. They're leaving out the part that this has been going on against the Jewish people from the time of Moses. This is not new, what took place coming after Jesus. And so it didn't have to do with just he was a refugee. It had to do with he was a Jew being born that had a purpose. That's it. He had a great purpose. And so did Moses. And we saw what poor Moses had to be sent down a river without family. Mother had to let him go in order to save the boy's life. That has been going on against Jewish people for thousands of years. So the fact that anyone right now, and even believers, first comes the Saturday, then comes the Sunday. So if you think they're going to stop with the Jews, Christians, you better wake up, Buttercup, because they're not.
And you would think that nativity scene, the first thing that went through my mind, well, there's a lot of things that go through my mind. It's not usually linear at all. But one of the first things that went through my mind when I saw that image was, where are the Christian people? Why are they not sitting here? And there, by the way, there are many who have been in support of Israel.
Yes,
so
there have, but we need
so
more.
I want to honor that. But you are looking at your nativity scene and you are seeing that, and your Pope is sitting there not saying boo.
Okay,
Are
first of
you
all,
kidding me?
okay, hold on, hang on. Okay,
Catholic. Sorry. Did I not say Catholic? Sorry.
I follow Jesus. I have a Bible that tells. Look, I'm not trying to. If Jay the Shepherd is watching, my man, you know I love you, but bro, I don't need anybody between me and Jesus. I don't need some dude who's clearly a freaking wackadoo trying to tell me what my freaking morals need to be.
And anti-Jewish, apparently, too, right?
But the reality is that America is full of a bunch of lukewarm Christians because we don't actually have to work for our faith.
That's it.
We don't actually have to suffer. I mean, I dealt with persecution in Vermont for being Christian, but I mean, persecution. I got called names. I wasn't like being hunted. I could still go to church. Like, and frankly, you know, our life is really easy here, and soft people don't have to depend on God.
There's
comfortable people.
That's 100% true. But there's a theology that's being taught, and that's this. It's actually the scariest theology of all. The theology is replacing the Word of God with Yeshua. That Jesus came, therefore we don't have to worry about the law. I actually was working in churches where people would come up and say, girl, why are you studying the Torah? The law is done away with. And I would look at them so sincerely and say, it's actually still in place and it still goes. And if you love Jesus, then you want to walk and track with him through the commands. You want to do the Shabbat. You want to do the Sabbath. You want to understand what a Seder is. And when you go to a Seder table, if you love Yeshua, you can't look at that table and not see him because you believe he is the Passover lamb. When you sit at a Seder and you see the bread, the salt, and the bread looking like the body of Yeshua on the cross, the puncture wounds, the bruising, the lashing, which is, our matzah. It really is. Every piece is such a gift. I can't look at a Seder and not see Yeshua. And I can't look at Yeshua and not see the Torah. I cannot. And anyone that loves him would know that he's a one-man Israel. And I should be fixated on it. And you need to wake up and speak up now. It's not a time to wait. Because if what are you waiting for?
Right.
It's now. It's right now. If you believe in everything in that book, and I do, then what time of day are we living in where good will be seen as bad, bad will be seen as good, where all of the world will come against Israel? Are we not witnessing that right now? Any day could be the day the Mashiach comes. And are we ready? I don't feel that the Christian community is prepared because it's almost like, well, we don't need to be in the war. We're over here. No, baby, you're built for this war. Let's go. You have to now understand that this is where the two branches, if you believe in Ezekiel speaks of the two branches shall become one. And I do believe that's the day where we as believers who believe in the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, we do see we are one. And I hope and pray each day that Christians will really start to see this is a manipulation of the enemy, and the enemy's real, folks. And they're not going to end with just coming after Jews. They will not.
And that's the piece of it, right? I mean, you sit here and you say, how did the Pope get in front of this, baby Jesus that's, whatever they're calling it now, and it didn't start the way it was supposed to. And you sit here and go, of course, right? That's it, right? That's the picture, right? And he's just sitting there loving it, right? And you sit here and you go, guys, that's what's going on in the schools now. That's what's going on in our educational system. They are changing the script. They are taking away our values. They are taking away parental influence. They are trying to literally indoctrinate. 30 years of this is how we get that in front of the Pope. I mean, and it's mind-blowing that people can't see this. They can't understand it. They think, oh, it's anti-Semitism. They're going to come for the Jews. Yeah, okay. We're just the tip of the iceberg, the tip of the spear, whatever the saying is.
One of my dear friends, Corinne, she's an incredible singer. She's being very vocal about Israel. She was born in Lebanon, and she sings worship music. She's a Christian. She cannot go back into Lebanon because she's considered a threat, because she is considered an evangelist. And when I tell you the thought of, this is a woman from Lebanon, and she's not Jewish, she's a Christian, and she cannot go back to Lebanon. So wake up. And she's a Middle Eastern woman. So when we have these discussions, look at the women and the way that they're treated in these countries. 9 years old, you can be literally married off. 9 in Iraq. In Afghanistan, women are not allowed to talk amongst themselves for it to be heard. Their voices have to be kept almost silent. If you notice, they're dressed in an entire beekeeper suit, and I'm never going to wear one of those bad boys. So my head's on the chopping block, and I don't care.
But where's the outrage on that? Nobody says a word.
Not a word. Not a word.
So I have a question to ask you, as a person who, as Pussycat Dolls and being in the entertainment world. Yeah. I mean, how do you reconcile that with all of these famous people who are in the entertainment business, who have such a platform, and are silent? Like, not even the ones that are against, like, obviously there's you and there's many others who are very vocal in support. Yes. I don't even care about the ones that are against. Okay, that's fine. But the silent ones are the ones that are killing me, because they are sitting there trying to protect themselves. Okay. They don't want to get involved. They don't want to be canceled. They don't want to be anything. And that to me is cowardly, and it is disgusting. And just by virtue of them not saying anything, I want nothing to do with them. And I hate to say that, but it's like, we are all human beings. Like, we should be outraged when any human is being treated, killed, treated maliciously, killed, persecuted against, whatever it is.
Yes. No matter
how do you
what.
Reconcile that?
I can't. I'll be honest with you. They're failing the test, and God is testing them. Actually, Satan is sifting them like wheat, and I don't even know if they're aware of their fate. It is very serious to not speak up. And in fact, if we go back in history, there's a film called Letter to the American Church. My friends did this movie. It's phenomenal. However, in the movie, they went into deep diving into Hitler, Mao, Mussolini. How did they get all of these people to be controlled? How did Hitler get an entire country to turn against the Jews? And one of the things that was so interesting that this film talks about is the ones that were silent. There were about 3,000 in the church that spoke up, that said, we don't want this, da, 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 da. Then there were about 2,000 that opposed the church. And then there were about 12,000 that said nothing. The 12,000 that in this film they uncovered could have been the variable of World War II happening or it not happening, because they did not speak. Believe it or not, silence is speech. We already hear them. They've spoken. By not speaking, you have spoken. And by the way, we will never forget it. I pray for your soul when it comes to the end times, but we will not forget that in this moment, you chose to not say anything. And I'll be honest, if it were me, my mother, my sister, if someone was taken into Gaza, I would want to rage all war against whoever did that to them. After sitting with families of people that are still being kept captive and they're women, what do you think's being done to them daily? Use your brain. If you care about women, if you care about women's rights, you should be speaking up to see and hear what people have endured, the crimes against humanity, sodomizing a woman's body when she's already decapitated, burning of children, suffocation by gas is how they killed many in the different kibbutz, burning them.
Yeah.
It's absurd. And then the people, especially for me in the music world, the Nova Festival, when I got to that site in Israel,
yeah. Oh God, it was awful.
I just, because I'm a singer that always has been the one that brings the party. And now, of course, I worship the Lord, but there was so many years where I was that party girl. They're me and I'm them. And standing there to think they had nowhere to run and hide. They had nowhere to go. And they were gunned down when they just wanted to dance.
Yeah.
The thought of that more in the EDM world and the DJ world and the community that I know well haven't said anything. Shame on them. Shame on them. You should be using your voice, because who's to say that couldn't happen here? Who's to say?
Happened here.
It's happening. It's happening. Yeah.
I was at Route 91 performing on stage an hour before it took place. Literally with John Rich and from Big and Rich. And literally an hour later, everyone in a rundown situation running to hide.
So it literally was you.
Truly. And right after that concert, and you can look this up because a lot of people don't know, I'm still on an ISIS list of they want to behead me on US soil. So for me, it's like, of course I'm going to go all balls to the wall for Israel, because they already want to kill me because I'm a believer.
Yeah.
That's it. So it might as well kill me for God's people and country. I would do it in a second. 100%.
And I feel like you were almost kind of set up for this a little bit, you know,
A little bit.
You know, in thinking about, you know, listening to your stories about what it was like, you know, early in your career.
Yeah.
And, you know,
and the abuse.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you were one of the few people who like snapped out of it and said, no, it can't be like this anymore. And then, they tried to, you know, crush you for it.
And look at it now. And when I tell you, I sit back and every day more names come out and I'm just like,
oh my gosh,
listen, glory to God in heaven for actually giving me the ability to see it happen, because the amount of girls that have been so mistreated and forced abortions and drug abuse and trafficked in a way when you're sent in a car with a man you don't know.
Yeah.
Sure.
And over and over again. And you're like, why isn't my car here? Oh, it never showed. So so-and-so is going to take you home tonight. I lived in, and when I left, I was so scared. And at the time I was in a relationship with Nick Carter, who too was abusive. And it was like, I couldn't get out of like living in this. Yeah. So you're so honest, you know, Ericka, to say like, in a way, God already designed it, right? Because he knew that I would then have, I have so much strength. And after the shooting in Vegas, after getting those ISIS death threats, I remember someone took me to a training with this Navy SEAL, Dom Rosso, who's now like my brother. And he said to me, I know you're on a list. And I said, yeah. And he said, I'm on that list too. And I said,
there you go.
Yeah. And he said, so I'm going to train you because it's not a fake list. It's a real list, Kaya. And if they ever do come, There are going to be many that come for you, and you need to know how to fight. And that was the day I went from probably being this young girl from the dolls as a victim to now I'm a firearms instructor. And nobody knows that because I don't publicize
Love
it.
that. I
That's
love
okay.
that.
So
Good
hold
for
on.
you.
Yeah.
I was totally cyber stalking you. And I came across videos of like
How did we do that?
tactical videos, and I was like, what in the bleep? And then I got distracted and I didn't get to go watch it. But now I know what they are.
Yeah, and I always now encourage women, because I was the girl that was abused in my youth, and I picked poorly because my self-esteem sucks. We date our self-esteem.
Yep.
And
say that again.
You like that one.
We date our self-esteem. And so when you're really here, you can only date what's there. And guys actually enjoy to even make you lower if they are predators to control you. Because once you know your value and you know your worth and you know you're a beautiful child of God and you're perfect and wonderfully made in the image of the creator of heaven and earth, then you'll really want to be like, no, I want a guy that wants to honor this queen.
Right.
And
you won't stand for it.
You won't stand for it. And so I then transitioned into, I became like a sport for me, a hobby. I went into doing scenario training, pistol training, rifle training, and hand-to-hand training, knife training. And it became like my fun place to be able to learn to fight back. And that gave me a piece that probably when I was then offered to go to Israel, most people may have said, I think one, it was the Lord that gave me the push, but I also felt confident if I had to fight, I can.
Yeah.
And I do think in this season for women, learn to protect yourself because you hear what's going on in our country with young women jogging, with young women being attacked. You are your first response. And Israel is doing what they need to do to be their first response. And right now we have Jews in Syria protecting Christians.
Is that amazing?
Hear that again.
Amazing.
Jews in Syria protecting Christians from persecution. If you're a Christian and you're not waking up, you stand with the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They are his chosen people. If you don't like it, take it up with God. That's it.
Love it. I love it. You're so right. I mean, you're so right.
Done.
So I hear how you've become empowered over the years, both through religion and, with this, through God, as well as, coming out of all of the abuse and empowering yourself with guns and all of that. Talk to me about the show that you're doing and and because I know that part of that has women's empowerment, and that was part of the concept behind it. So share with our audience that.
So we're working on my podcast, and the main goal, so we have the album that's coming out, and a lot of the songs are connected to all of these different, like the next song is actually a song called Treasured, and it's connected to the tribe of Dan. It's connected to Ethiopia. So there's a lot of Ethiopia that's going through suffering, living in trash dumps. And so this song is a message that was given by God to the woman who created this foundation, Treasured, that they're not trash, they're my treasured.
Wow.
And we have over 500 trash dumps throughout the world. And this is the beginning of a discussion that we need to start helping one another. And really, this is revival because all of the tribes have to come back. So the focus for this album is to get people ready for the King of Kings, because he is here right now and he is returning in a real way. But the Spirit of God is being poured out into the world. Jews are coming closer to God and their traditions, which are valuable, which Christians are going to love because it is proof of the love you have for the Bible in real life. It's walking out the commands when you come into the Sabbath and all of those things. So this album is the focus of really getting my music out and worship out, and then connecting with different organizations through the world that are doing different things for different people that I do believe are tribes of Israel. That's the first one. And the second thing is Blessed by Kaya, is we're doing a podcast, and I want to deep dive into the abuse that I've gone through, how to be a strong, empowered woman, how to be a godly woman, and also to deep dive into biblical references, cross references, so that people understand, you know, we're not just going to put things out on social media. I've heard things from Candace Owens of, you know, the different contexts of being a believer. And I have degrees in them. I have 7. So I want to go toe to toe with some of the individuals that have a thought as believers that biblically it's not sound doctrine. So you might see some debates on there.
Ooh, cool. Amazing. I'm on your team because you're going to knock it out of the park against them. I couldn't hold a candle to you. So
okay, wait, hold on.
You could. Awesome. Oh, you can. Are you kidding? I love you, Lori.
I have your first debate ready.
Let's go.
Uh-oh.
Follow the laws except for not eating bacon. Look, I'm telling you, like, most of the law I can get down with, but bro, like,
no, let me.
Bacon is good.
No, so let me explain something, because I think a lot of people. So the kosher laws really are for your body.
Yeah.
God built the body, and it's actually about our internal health. So He made a Maybach. You know, a Maybach doesn't take regular gas, or you're a Maserati, or you're a Phantom. Your body is a temple. So He's telling you what works well in the system that I built. So when you put this stuff in, you're going to go good. He's not putting you to hell because you ate bacon. He's saying you might get cholesterol. You might get sick because those animals don't sweat. That's what He's saying. He's not saying you can't. He's saying you shouldn't.
You can
wait. So I'm sorry, Ericka, but I just have to put this in. My Torah portion, okay, for my bat mitzvah was on kosher and kashrut and the cleft hooves and not being clean for you. And
yes, we're clean and clean, like, holy and holy. Yeah,
we're going back like 40 something years.
Go, right? Lori, you're the queen.
I remember that.
Go, Lori. That's
my rabbi would be so thrilled. I think he's not alive anymore, but he would be thrilled, and wherever he is right now, he'd be thrilled.
He is alive. He's with Hashem.
Yes, he's with Hashem.
He is.
He's not in this physical space.
Yes, I love it. Ericka. This is no, I love it. This is fantastic. It is. The food thing is always funny. The Bible. Yeah. I tell people, like, you don't have to be religious to read the Bible and see that this is basically just like lessons on how to have a decent life. Yeah. How to not be a butthole. And like how to have a fulfilling life. And
yes.
Not, you know?
Yes. And this is the thing for Christians. I will tell you, it's not about you being a legalist.
Yeah.
You know, Jews don't have magic beans. Why they
don't? Wait, hold on.
I'm going to tell you something.
They don't. Beans.
No, but people think, and they come against Jews because they think, why are they successful? And there's jealousy towards Jews. And I'm going to tell you, don't be jealous. Why don't you follow the commands that He gave them and see if you don't have the authority in the earth like them too? He gave it for everyone. The Torah doesn't belong to the Jews. They are the chosen ones to protect it and teach it. It belongs to all of the world. And if you follow the commands, God will bless your home like on another level. And I encourage people, truly, you think their wisdom, it's called Torah IQ. Google it. It's an actual thing. When you study God, He pours into your mind and expands your thoughts. It's not like they're different in all the different ways. They're just humans that follow God's commands. And because of that, He will bless them exponentially. That's what it is. So if you want to have a fruitful life, stop hating them. Actually, maybe see they're doing something correct and God therefore is blessing them. So don't hate. And in fact, it's dangerous too, because He does say He will kill you if you come against the hand that is His chosen people. He says, don't touch them.
Well,
so why wouldn't?
Listen,
why would you go against what He says?
That was wise. That's a wise, like, let's keep it really simple. Like, He'll tell you He's going to kill you. But
He
I have to tell you,
does.
right, and he does magical things. I mean, and it's exactly that. Like if you look at the synagogue that was arsoned in Australia, the Torahs
Torah not
were
touched.
not damaged. It's like the whole thing burns. There's people inside of it. They get out safely, and the Torahs were not burned. If
Not
that
burned.
is not a sign that he is blessing the people that are following his
Yep.
commandments, I don't know what is. Like to me, that is it.
Same actually with in oh gosh, why am I blanking? Where we just had all that flood was in North Carolina,
Yes.
South Carolina. Okay, so in North Carolina, they had the flood and everything. There was a Bible, and I posted it. It was a Bible that stood. I don't know how it got onto this stick. It was almost like whatever occurred, it got like slammed on a stick, and it
Like
was
impaled on it.
impaled and untouched, as everything around it was gone except for the Bible. It is the written word of the creator of heaven and earth. If you don't think it's supernatural, we are supernatural. God exists in that word. And when you realize we serve a supernatural God, he literally says, do not touch my anointed. Do my prophets no harm. Do not touch the widow and orphan, for he will make, God says, I will make you a widow, your wife widows, and your children orphans. This is God saying out of his own mouth what he has put into place. So when you touch Israel, you will not, it won't work out for you. And that means the people too. So if you notice, if you do things to a person and it never worked out for you, you probably touched a child of God, and it is a serious thing. And you should actually be more fearful of God. I think there's a lack of fear when it comes to God, that otherwise, why would people knowingly basically like, and then I heard of Assad. Assad had a Torah scroll in his basement.
Yes, I read that too. Unbelievable,
And
right?
but no, because he knows the authority of the Torah, and the Torah has, and God blesses you for having a Torah.
Or for having
This is
Yep.
for having it, and he knew that. He knew that. So deep down, he knows who is the rightful God. He knows who is the chosen people. And shame on you for not just being like, you know what? I don't want to be jealous. Maybe I want to convert to Judaism. Convert, Assad. That's what you are. You want to live on top of a Torah, but you don't want to be good to people, and you don't want to be good to God's people. I mean, it was almost like conniving of the enemy, how he would do that.
I think that is the perfect way to close the show tonight. Assad, convert to Judaism. Give your life to Jesus.
Give your life to Jesus.
Give your life to Jesus.
Give your life to Jesus. Follow the commands of God. Then you will prosper. It's
Y'all
not
can
just
be good instead of in a civil war all the time.
We need to make sure the Torah is brought to all nations. Like, we need to bring the Torah to the nations, because the whole world needs to have a reckoning of how serious these times are, and also how beautiful God's promise is, because he loves us all and he wants us to focus on him. And we're busy focusing on hatred and anger and resentment. And the worst of all is that when people are suffering, we're not speaking up for them. And I feel such a blessing to be with you ladies, and so honored to be standing in this season when God's watching for his people. Amazing.
Well, you are a blessing. So thank you.
You're a blessing, Lori. I watch
you.
everything you do. Everything with Sam. Everything. I'm like, I love it.
Well, and for those of you watching, make sure to check out the description so you can go to Shiloah TV.
Shiloh, yeah, Shiloh. You say it any way you want, Ericka.
Well, y'all can see it on the screen, and even if I'm pronouncing it wrong, there's a link in the description. Yes. And you can follow Kaya Jones on Facebook and Instagram. We've got the links in the description. Go check it out. And thank you again, Kaya Jones, for coming on this evening, sharing your experience, strength, and hope with our viewers, and especially at a time when your family is, is having some struggles,
Yeah.
and so giving your time to us is just
My dad,
such a
I
blessing.
know through this time, thank you. My dad through this time has been on this ventilator. And before, he couldn't breathe before the ventilator because he wasn't responding. Just before it happened, he looked up and he was so enamored with what he saw. And my grandmother was like, "What is he staring at?" And I just said to her, "It's for him. And it's only for him." And so I know he'd be really proud that I got to stand with Israel right now. Yeah.
Oh, well,
Amen.
we
Thank
wish
you.
him health, and we wish support to your entire family
Thank
through all of
you.
this. And thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I bless all of you. And thank you for having me. And we can't wait to do more with you. I want to do more. We need to do more
We
and
will.
make sure that we get it. We should put this on Shiloh. We should put it all on Shiloh.
I am sure Robert would be into that. He's
We're
definitely
gonna have a
go.
conversation.
yeah.
Don't you
and
worry.
even if he says
Kaya.
no, we'll talk him into it. So
Go check the chat. Go check the chat. I already told you we have to talk after this. So don't you worry, Kaya. This is not the end. Don't worry.
I
All
love
right.
you.
Just the
All
beginning.
right, you guys.
Thank you.
Robert will be back with us next week, so make sure not to miss it. All right, ladies, have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.